And now for a closer look at today's tackle, Delaware Valley Outdoors presents the Tackle Box. For more information about the tackle used on today's show, go to DelawareValleyOutdoors.com.
Okay, we're here with the Tackle Box, Pete. We had a combination of on this lake of largemouth and smallmouth, and you know, in our conversation, she said, "Bobby, those bright colors get those smallmouths going." What do we have here? What kind of? This is a bright bait, let me tell you.
Oh, that's the Hog Sticker Winnipesaukee special. That's where that was designed, for Lake Winnipesaukee, New Hampshire, which is just across the road here a little bit. But that smallmouth really react to those bright colors, and it's really tough to beat a chartreuse spinnerbait with chartreuse blades, and that's an 1.5 ounce model, and you're able to burn it very, very rapidly, and that'll draw those smallmouth up from the depths.
Yeah, because the fish, a lot of times they're below the bait and they're coming up, and when you're bringing this across in maybe 8-10 feet of water, and with the weight, I guess you can let it flutter, right?
You can let it flutter, but one of the best things you can do is you can make tremendously long casts, because we have nothing but clear water up here. 1.5 ounce spinnerbait, I mean, you could throw it across the lake almost, and that's great because you need to be far away from the fish in this clear water and make those long casts, and that's what that bait allows you to do.
And the double blade really puts out some.
A lot of color, a lot of flash, a lot of vibration. This is a big number 8 Colorado blade. A lot of people wouldn't think to throw that.
Now, you know what, personally, I was just thinking, I wouldn't really think about throwing an 1.5 ounce spinnerbait for smallmouths, you know, really.
They just go nuts for it, and the smallmouth up here in the north are so aggressive that, you know, they'll eat those big giant baits. A lot of people think that you have to throw small baits for smallmouth, and that's not true at all.
No, well, there you go. Well, that is a bright color. All right, now. We got to get to the killer bait right here that we were having today. What do we have here?
This is a Hog Sticker spinnerbait, and this the simplistic part of this spinnerbait is just a little bait. It's 1/4 ounce. It's got 3.5 willow leaf blade on it with a little Colorado blade in the front, and this mimics small fish. And when you have conditions like we have this week, where there's a lot of little bait fish shallow, I saw a lot of them just about everywhere we went. And we don't have very aggressive conditions. We don't have a tremendous amount of wind today, and we don't have any overcast, you know. So what I was able to do was downsize my spinnerbait to this little 1/4 ounce spinnerbait, and the fish just came out of the woodwork to get it.
No, they were tearing it. And again, I know you like that contrast of the chartreuse gives them a little bit to look at, and then this scum gives them that bait fish.
They can't look at it too much, you know, because if you look at our skirt here, it's a little bit translucent. It may look white, but as you get it in the water, you can almost see through it. And that's a lot of what I like to do in clear waters. I like to play with my colors. I like those translucent colors, because the fish, they can see it, they can hear it, but they can't quite see it. And you know, so they're kind of freaked out by it, and really and truly, they go ahead and eat it, and then they decide whether it's food after they eat it. But by then, you know, you've already got them
hooked. And again, the blade situation, the gold and silver, you like that combination? I prefer that myself.
I do too. Gold and silver is what I'll use 90% of the time. You know, you're giving them a little combination of gold, silver colors. The water up here in Maine a lot of time almost has a tannic nature to it, where it's like dark black kind of colors, and therefore a lot of the bait fish that swim around here have that gold nature to them, and that gold blade is just a perfect replica of that.
And this is what, 1/4 ounce, you say?
1/4 ounce.
Yeah. I mean, that's still, I mean, we got this bait down to where we wanted it, and we could burn it, and it really tracked real well.
Those 1/4 ounce spinnerbaits will catch them. It's just like, you know, when you're downsizing from a jig to a finesse worm, you downsize from a big bulky spinnerbait to a little 1/4 ounce finesse spinnerbait. That's what we did this week. Worked like a charm.
Okay. we got to put this bait. It's on everybody's list. I know that, but I want to talk a little bit about the bait, but how you fished it, especially with those docks. What do we have here, Pete?
This is a Senko. Many of you may never have heard of this lure.
If you've lived on Mars, maybe.
You know, the Senko has really revolutionized fishing, in my opinion. It's one of the most unique lures, because it's what I call a power finesse package in one, in that it's a relatively large, bulky bait, but you fish it weightless, and you fish it on light line, so it's able to really, you know, attack that finesse approach. But because of its size, it's able to draw strikes from big fish, and that's what makes it special. But what our application was this week was, we have docks up here, and I love fishing docks. I mean, it's one of the funnest ways to fish, and getting the bait underneath the dock is key, and we have clear water, so it's very difficult to get that bait flipped, a jig or a tube, to get it flipped underneath the dock. But with the weightless Senko, I'm able to skip it. And we talked a little bit about that today on the water. We showed you some examples and how that big fish came while we were skipping it under docks. It's a heavy bait, it doesn't have a weight on it, so it'll skip great distances out underneath those docks and get in those shady little places that the big ones live.
Okay, now speaking of skipping, I mean, you gave me some tips there today, but you need, you can skip, I'm sure, with a bait cast, or somebody can do it, but the best the way to do it is with a spinning rod. And what do we have here, Pete? This was a real good rod here today.
Oh, this is a great rod. This is a Rogue spinning rod. It's medium heavy action. It's 7 foot in length. Now, with this rod, you know, I'm able to skip great distances, and it's critical to have a rod that has a good backbone, but it has a soft enough tip to be able to skip. See, skipping is about accuracy. It's about casting accuracy. The softer the rod tip you have, the more accurate your cast is going to be. And that's very important, but you still need enough backbone to land those 5.5 pounders when they get wrapped around pilings and whatnot. So, you know, Rogue builds an excellent graphite rod. It's extremely light, which is key.
Yeah,
that also helps your casting accuracy. A big bulky rod is very difficult to be able to manipulate those lures like you want to.
And you know, one thing I do want to reiterate what you had said was, this rod loaded up real quick with that soft tip, and you could just flip it in there.
Absolutely, you can get the accuracy, because skipping is about speed. You have to get the horizontal speed of the lure over the water, but you also have to be accurate. You know, you got to be able to get that bait in between the transom of a motor and a pontoon float, or in between a floating dock that might only have 2 inches of space. So accuracy is key. Have a good light graphite rod. Rogue makes a great one.
And it was a good one. And that's the tackle box.
This is a good fish. Oh, the Senko comes out and delivers.
Get that little boy in here.
Oh, he's not ready. That's a nice bass.
Pete, I want to thank you for taking us up here. Having a heck of a good time up here on those northern lakes. You showed us a lot today. I'm really appreciative of it. Again, I'm Bob Murray. This is Delaware Valley Outdoors. Thanks to Pete Gluszek and all the people up here in Maine. I'll see you in the water. All right, I love when I'm playing. Did I get back in here a little bit with a Senko? We did it. What? What? Somebody come help me. Somebody come help me. I see people. People, I gotta bark at them. I gotta bark at the people. I say, whoa, whoa, whoa. That tail wagging.
Accommodations provided by Lakeside Motel and Marina, your home away from home in East Winthrop, Maine. Visit their website at www.lakesidelodging.com.